founding of our nation set in motion a new experiment in freedom and self-government. As we move into the 21st century, the forces of tyranny are once again on the move, threatening to gain the upper hand. The freedomsgood.com site was established in respect of our founding principle of God-given rights as a place for people to rediscover the circumstances and the ethical principles that gave rise to America and all it stands for. We sincerely hope that you will take the time to explore the many resources you will find there and go back often to renew your spirit and keep up with the current developments as we hurtle down the path of history at this most perilous time. Now, let's address the reason you're here. When considering the many options we have for putting our savings to work, building long-term wealth, the question that comes up is which option is best? To answer that question, we need to start with the attributes that we should all agree would constitute the perfect investment vehicle to grow and conserve the value of our savings. A comprehensive list of attributes to consider for such an asset would include a competitive yield to stay ahead of inflation, low or no exposure to market volatility. For retirement purposes, principal protection is absolutely vital. The ability to be used as collateral to fund other investment opportunities or spending needs. No restrictions on liquidity. No restriction on the ability to contribute new funds. The ability to make pre-tax contributions. No taxation on both future growth and future distributions. And finally, it would offer protection from creditors in the event of illegal action. Clearly, the asset class that would embody all of these attributes doesn't exist. So logically, we should agree that the asset class exhibiting most of these attributes would be the best to put at the core of our retirement savings strategy while adding others to that base. Let's take a closer look at the various options. Starting with checking accounts, other than being theoretically liquid with no principal risk, this asset checks off none of the other boxes. What about savings accounts? This asset generally will provide a better yield than the checking account, but that is where its advantages end. When considering certificates of deposit, they do offer better yields, but that comes at the cost of liquidity. Generally, you will have to tie up your money for a minimum of 3 months and possibly years to get the best yield. If you need your principal back before maturity, you will pay a penalty that will cost you a significant part of the yield advantage you invested for. With investment accounts, the double-edged sword of market risk is introduced. While competitive returns and liquidity are potentially strong attributes, unpredictable downside volatility is an ever-present risk. On the positive side, an investment portfolio can be used to collateralize a margin loan. In the 1980s, the government introduced the concept of qualified retirement accounts, such as IRAs, 401ks, and the like. These are individual retirement accounts with tax attributes, contribution limits, and liquidity limitations added. Contributions can be made and are allowed to grow tax-deferred. The bad news is that taxes will eventually be due when the assets are distributed. These restrictions and requirements on distributions are numerous, with a lot of potential penalties if you don't follow the rules. The Roth account is an example of a non-qualified retirement account. That designation means that you will have to pay income taxes currently on the money used to fund these accounts. The good news is that all future growth and distributions are allowed tax-free. On the negative side, these accounts have restrictions on amounts that can be deposited, and the investments retain full exposure to market risk volatility. Owning real estate is a key concept that's been touted for building long-term wealth. While there's nothing inherently wrong with this, real estate ownership is highly illiquid, subject to market risk, and requires a continuous commitment of time and unknown future cash flow for maintenance, insurance, and annual tax obligations. So where does this all leave us? Well, it leaves us with an asset class that most people never realize is by far the best vehicle for securely growing both retirement savings and legacy wealth. When considered in relation to all the other options listed, a specially designed, participating whole life insurance policy ticks off almost all the boxes for the perfect retirement investment. As you can see, the only real negative is the inability to fund it on a pre-tax basis. Taking control of your financial future is the single most important thing you can do for yourself and your family. With government spending out of control and total financial obligations in excess of $200 trillion, we are being steered into an economic tempest that none of us can possibly imagine. Where most people today have been seduced into relying on the government, Wall Street, and the banks to store and manage their savings, many are discovering a revolutionary concept that allows them to keep their families safe and financially secure. This asset class is a proven alternative to conventional retirement accounts that provides guaranteed, predictable tax-free growth in retirement income with no restrictions or penalties for access. It relies on a supercharged form of dividend-paying whole life insurance that puts you in total control of your money and finances. If you are tired of unpredictable market volatility and concerned about the possibility of a massive and long-lasting market crash, you owe it to yourself to explore this concept and join the hundreds of thousands of other people who have been convinced this is the best way to secure their retirements. Check out the links below in the description section to find out more and to get started on your journey to financial freedom.